Hey, what is happening? You had hair having Hariyama. Taking a look at some new revealed cards that will be coming out in Japan's January set, Wild Force and Cyber Judge, but we won't be getting them until late March, unfortunately. That is when rotation is supposed to be hitting, so rotation in Japan is going to be hitting in January, and our rotation should be hitting beginning of April, end of March with the Temporal Forces set release. So that's when we're going to be getting these cards. Quite a few ancient and future Pokemon. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. We got that Gouging Fire EX. It is Entei, if you didn't know. It's an ancient Pokemon, so we'll be able to utilize that tool. So it has that 230 HP, but we can boost it up to the 290 with the ancient tool card. I guess not being able to be affected by special conditions as well, for as much as that matters. For a fire and a call is 260 damage. For fire call is 260 damage. And you can't use Exploding Flare until the Pokemon leaves the active spot. Wait, this Pokemon can't use Exploding Flare again until it leaves the active spot. Oh wait, that's interesting. Would that continue? At first in my head, this was like this Pokemon can't use his attack during your next turn. But this says this Pokemon can't use Exploding Flare until it leaves the active spot. So if you were in the active again for another turn, like if you use Exploding Flare, your opponent passes and you go draw pass, and your opponent draw passes, and then you go draw, can you not Exploding Flare again? I actually didn't think about that. I don't think you could, right? Let me know in the comment section down below. Am I tripping, or is that how that would work? That seems like that's how that would work, right? Because it doesn't say until next turn. Now, if your Gouging Fire survived 2 turns without your opponent knocking it out, hopefully you could come up with a way to get it to the bench and get it back to the active, or get it into a different Pokemon that can attack, or you're kind of screwed to begin with. I would hopefully you could figure that out. But yeah, 260 damage is a lot. Weak to water, of course, 2 retreat cost, and it is an EX if you didn't notice. So yeah, 260 damage is a lot. That KO is pretty much all basic Vs, basic EXs. We can't quite get that bigger KO on the V-Stars and like the Guardy EX, or the Stage 2 EXs, I should say, but we're close. So some damage modifiers would be able to get us there. You could play this with the Iron Bundle, so that could apply poison damage. You'd be looking at 270. One thing you could play this card with that I think would be pretty cool would be the Skeletor GX, where its ability allows you to discard a fire energy from your hand, and if you do, your Pokemon do 60 more damage. So we'd be doing 320 damage, and you don't really need to do more than 320 damage. Like that's a number right there. You're KOing everything. And we got Magma Basin for some energy acceleration possibly. We also have the Professor Sada's. Actually, Sada's is kind of coming to be the card that I thought it would be. I was like, Sada looks really, really good as a card. The ancient Pokemon we have right now don't look that good, but now we're starting to get some more ancient Pokemon, and Sada is looking better and better every single set release. This is the second set release, but I'm sure it'll look better if we get more ancient Pokemon in the set after the set. So yeah, Sada, Magma Basin, attachment for turn. That's a turn 1 Exploding Flare. That definitely looks like how you'd probably build this. What will you put around it is the question. Like I said, the Skeletor is cool, but it is a stage 2 Pokemon, but the ability does let us do a lot of damage. There's also the Rapidash that allows us to discard a fire from our hand, and then it is a stage 1, and then our fire Pokemon do, I believe it's 30 more damage. So we could set up 2 of those, and that is the 320. If we just set up 1 of them, we're doing 290. That's still pretty good. Like I said, the Brute Bonnet gives us that poison damage, but getting to the 270 doesn't seem that attractive. So definitely got the energy acceleration for it. Got a couple of different ways to modify the damage. A lot of potential for the Gouging Fire. Next up, we got the Walking Wake EX. Also, what are we going to call these? Are we actually going to call this the Gouging Fire EX and the Walking Wake EX? Or are we just going to call it Entei and Suicune? Because that's what they are. They're the ancient versions of those Pokemon. I'm just going to call them Entei and Suicune, I think, myself. I'll use their real names here for this video, but yeah, let me know again in the comment section down below. What are you guys going to be calling these Pokemon? I don't really want to call them Walking Wake and Gouging Fire, but if everyone else is, I probably will as well, I guess. But yeah, Walking Wake EX, 220 HP. It's got the ability damage from this Pokemon's attacks is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So effectively, Shred as an ability for all of your attacks. So you got the Roar attack, but I guess with this in mind, you could possibly combo this with some of the TMs, I guess would be maybe the theory to combo this ability with. It's kind of interesting that it has an ability that gives it the Shred, and the Shred is not on its attack. But for Water Colorless, you do 120 damage, and if your opponent's active is affected by a special condition, you do 120 more. Once again, ancient Pokemon. So we're looking at possibly the Sada to accelerate the energy. We need to affect our opponent's active. With a special condition. So we're probably looking at the Brute Bonnet for that. And we put the tool on there, put the tool on here, 200 HP, we poison them. So we're effectively doing 250 damage with the Brute Bonnet, plus them being affected by the special condition. We get this Radiant Sneasler in there. We're looking at, I forgot about the Radiant Sneasler when I was thinking about this card earlier, actually. So we got the 270 with the Radiant Sneasler. Now, it does take double colors alongside the water, so the water could come from the Sada, but then it's possible we could play this with double turbo energy, to be honest. So maybe we're looking at 250 damage with the Radiant Sneasler, but Sada combos really well with Radiant Greninja, so if we're using Radiant Greninja plus the Sada plus a double turbo and their poison, we're only looking at 230 damage. So we're KOing most basic Pokemon, or basic 2-prize Pokemon, not really getting to the numbers, though, for the EXs, the Stage 2 EXs, the VMAXs as well, the V-Stars, whatever, all that. We're not really getting those numbers. I guess VMAXs are rotating when this drops. But yeah, V-Stars and EXs, we're not really hitting the numbers with the Walking Wake. So I don't think this card is quite going to be the answer. I think you could maybe like play this as like a one-of, with like a one-of water energy in like a Gouging Fire to take advantage of its Shred ability. So like if there's ever some problems like with like Mimikyu or any Pokemon that has some kind of block attack or block ability like the Mimikyu or something like that, and you need a way to get through them, then I think Walking Wake would be the answer. So you maybe include this as like a one-of in an ancient deck, more so than it kind of being its own deck by itself, I think. The one that has the most hype here out of the Suicune, Entei, and Raikou is the Raging Bolt. 240 HP. It's a dragon type. We haven't seen dragons for... When was the last time we got a dragon Pokemon? It's been a while. And the last couple that we've gotten have not been great. Got that Bursting Roar attack for 1 colorless energy, so going to be pretty good on our first turn going second. Discard your hand and draw 6 cards. A little bit of consistency boost there. And then for a Lightning and a Fighting, Extreme Ascent. 70 damage times the amount of basic energy you discard from your Pokemon in play. So another heavy-hitting, potentially heavy-hitting Pokemon that relies on discarding energy in play. Is this a repeat of the Reshiram and the Rayquaza VMAX? It could be, but those didn't have Professor Sada, and Rayquaza VMAX was a 3-prize Pokemon that was an evolution. I feel like Raging Bolt has a lot going for it. Pretty high HP. The 240 is a nice number to have. Got the tool card. We can get up to 300. This can effectively have 300 HP with the tool card. Of course, lost vacuums in the format. Some other ways to deal with tools as well. But yeah, effectively 300 HP. That's quite a bit. That's a lot to deal with. Theoretically, uncapped damage. We can one-hit KO anything. The question is just going to become, how consistently can we get energy in play to take knockout? So we got the Sada, like I mentioned. That'll be a good supporter card in this deck. We also have Electric Generator. The energy cost on this is Lightning Fighting. So we're going to be playing Lightning Energy. So we could theoretically play Generator and Lightning Pokemon, 1 or 2 of them, to accelerate the Lightning Energy 2. Maybe an Iron Hands, who knows? Because we can discard the energy from anywhere in play to do the extra damage. So there's a couple different ways we can accelerate the energy in play. I guess we have Energy Sticker as well. I don't know if we'd go that far, but we could. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for the Raging Bolt. High HP for a basic EX Pokemon, especially with the tool card involved. I mean, I guess if we're getting the tool card involved, maybe the math works out often enough where we'd want to play the Brute Bonnet as well. That could be something. Maybe the Generator, Sada for sure. Yeah, Raging Bolt definitely got some potential. Like the Entei, like I said, definitely got some potential, but we'll have to see what it does. We're finally getting a Flutter Mane, but it's not an EX. I think we will probably still get a Flutter Mane EX, and if it's anything like the Flutter Mane in the video game, it's going to be freaking good. 90 HP, Fluttering Dusk. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities, except for Fluttering Dusk. So, kind of a prevention Pokemon, try and slow down our opponent's Pokemon, shut down the ability of our opponent's active Pokemon. This actually matters quite a bit going forward with rotation, because Escape Rope rotates. So this is really effective up against Lost Zone decks to shut down Comfey, and Iron Valiant decks as well, because to use the abilities on an Iron Valiant or a Comfey, they have to be in the active. Same thing with Cramorant and Lost Zone decks as well. And usually stuff like Flutter Mane or Klefki, we also still have Klefki as well, wasn't a huge problem unless they got 2 of them in play on the first turn, because those decks play 4 Escape Rope. But Escape Rope is rotating, so that means something like a Flutter Mane or a Klefki, but I think the Flutter Mane's a little bit better, a little bit more HP, and a better attack. 3 colorless energy, 90 damage, put 2 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. Probably going to be a little bit better than the Klefki, just by a little bit, not by a whole ton to be honest, but Klefki or the Flutter Mane, whatever, which one you like the better for whatever situation you might want to play it, definitely has some potential now that the Escape Rope is rotating. You can also do some other weird stuff with Flutter Mane as well. Klefki also shuts off all basic Pokemon's abilities in play, whereas Flutter Mane just shuts off the active's abilities no matter what. So Klefki has some advantages where it would be able to stop stuff like Squawkabilly or Luminion, but Flutter Mane has some advantages where it could stop stuff like Guardy EX. You could like boss up a Guardy EX, and then put Flutter Mane in the active, and now they can't accelerate energy from the discard pile to the Guard EX and then retreat it on that turn, and you can start using Flying Curse a couple turns in a row. Maybe they're out of energy and they have to like sit and wait, or they can't find Super Rod to recover energy to retreat the Guard EX, something like that. Also, Shiny Arcana rotates for Guardy, so they couldn't accelerate energy through Shiny Arcana to then retreat it. So that could be a cool combo there with the Flutter Mane up against like a Guardy EX deck. And I'm sure there's other stuff too, like Excalibur would be another one we could kind of execute that same strategy. Excalibur's got no energy on it. Boss it up, put Flutter Mane in the active, and you kind of lock them down, slow them down from there. So yeah, the Flutter Mane offers some interesting strategies to slow down your opponent, like the Klefki, and like I said, they both have their different pros and cons. The Klefki shuts down all basic Pokemon abilities, yours and your opponent's. Stop Luminian, stop Squawkabilly. Flutter Mane's only shutting down the active, but it can shut down a little bit more than just the basic Pokemon. Explorer's Guidance is an ancient supporter here. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Choose 2 of them, put them into your hand, discard the other cards. So we've had this before in Hapu, and it was okay. It was played in a couple meta decks. And the other cards similar to this that we've had, similar to this and Hapu that we've had in the past, the Sage's Training. It looked at the top 5, and you picked 2, discarded 3. So I would say probably Explorer's Guidance and Hapu are a little bit better in terms of overall power in the Pokemon TCG, but Sage's Training was played a lot more than either of these were. But back in the day when we had Sage's Training, our options for draw supporters were not many, so it was kind of forced into a Sage's Training route more so than wanted to play Sage's Training, I felt like. So but yeah, Explorer's Guidance, I think it's okay. I think it'll pop up in a meta deck here and there, but it's not going to be a go-to staple in very many meta decks when we get it. Iron Leaves EX, 220 HP, rapid. I honestly just don't know how to pronounce this word. Vernier? Is that how you say it? Is this a word I've never seen before, or am I just tripping right now? I actually don't know. Once in your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may switch this Pokemon with your active. If you do, you may move any number of energy from your bench Pokemon to this Pokemon. So we've had this ability similar on the Articuno EX in the past. Was it Articuno V or Articuno EX? It was Articuno EX, right? That was played in the Pidgey control deck. You put it on the bench, it would switch to the active, and then you get the energy, as many energy off your other Pokemon as you want. Maybe it only got water energy. I don't actually remember. This one gets any number of energy from your Pokemon to this Pokemon, from your bench Pokemon to this Pokemon as you like. But its attack does require 2 grass and a color, so it's probably going to limit the energy that you're playing with this and that you're taking from your other Pokemon to put on it. And then you do 108 damage, and during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. So everyone saw this card and they're like, oh my gosh, it beats Charizard. We already have quite a few cards like this that can 1-hit KO Charizard pretty easily. Stuff like Superior, and then like the Shamans. I guess the one thing cool about the Iron Leaves is you don't kind of have to put it in play ahead of time to kind of set it up to get it going, and that does kind of give the opportunity for like a Charizard deck to boss KO it before you get to utilize it. You can kind of bring it in out of nowhere and then get a KO on a Charizard. So right now that seems like the best use case for it is to combat the Charizard EX. But we'll see what other future stuff that they come out with to maybe boost it and give it more options in more matches. But right now it looks like a possible counter card for Charizard in whatever deck this fits better than a different grass attack, or another grass attacking option to combat Charizard, basically. The Iron Crown EX, 220 HP, future Pokemon, Cobalt Commander. Your future Pokemon's attacks, excluding any Iron Crown EX, so it doesn't boost its own damage, do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's a future booster Pokemon. It just boosts the damage of your future Pokemon. That's it. It does have an interesting attack as well. For Psychic Colorless, this attack does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness, resistance, or any effects on the defending Pokemon. So this is worded a little bit weirdly, but my understanding from some other translations of this card is that this effectively ignores all effects on any Pokemon it chooses to attack. So basically you can go through Manaphy. So Manaphy's out there protecting the bench, and then the twin Shodels, whatever. 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon is not affected by Manaphy's bench barrier. So basically this goes through bench barrier, is my understanding of that. It says defending Pokemon, which usually is referring to the active Pokemon, but I believe that's not quite what it means for how it's translated, which is interesting. We haven't had an attack like that ever, maybe? Not that I can think of off the top of my head. We probably had something in the past, but being able to get through Manaphy is pretty interesting. It only does 50 to 2, but maybe you get Iron Valiant in there, you know, so we're doing those 50 pings. Hawlucha is still relevant and around as well. I don't know about relevant, but it's around. Hawlucha's definitely around. I don't know how relevant Hawlucha is. We get Hawlucha involved as well. Pidgey, the good call for family Pidgey, only has 50 HP. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a main attacker in a deck, but some kind of future box type deck could definitely include one of these Iron Crown EX as an option, and it does Psychic double colorless for the attack. The one thing with these future Pokemon compared to the ancient Pokemon is their attack costs are pretty high for the lack of energy acceleration for future Pokemon in general. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some form of future Pokemon energy acceleration coming out, whether it be this set or maybe the next set, because it is kind of hard to get some of these things going and actually make them relevant, especially something like the Iron Crown EX, where it's like boosting your other future Pokemon's damage. So it's kind of hinting at the possibility of the potential of a future box archetype trying to be made in this set, or maybe the set following. I would assume in this set is when it all kind of comes together. Maybe the set afterwards. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, with this ability, with this Pokemon, it's definitely hinting at the possibility of wanting there to be a future box type deck. And that would definitely mean we need some form of future energy acceleration through a supporter, through an item, through a different Pokemon. Yeah, there has to be some way to get these energy in play on the future Pokemon so we can actually utilize them as attackers and not just set up one by turn 3 and then it gets knocked down and then we lose the game. And the last future EX to take a look at here is the Iron Boulder EX, 240 HP. This card, to be honest, kind of sucks, but we'll go through it here. For a fighting and a colorless, it does 60 damage. If this Pokemon takes damage from an attack during your opponent's next turn, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Then for fighting colorless, you do 200 damage and discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This thing sucks. For the current form of future Pokemon energy acceleration, you get one of these things set up on turn 2, hopefully, probably turn 3. You attack for 200 damage, maybe 220, 240 if we got an Iron Crown on our bench, and then you discard 2 energy from the Pokemon. And it only has 240 HP. It's not an ancient Pokemon that can put one of the tools on there and boost it by 60. Like, yeah, this thing sucks. Yeah, the future Pokemon need a little bit of help here. Iron Thorns, this card is cool. Definitely not going to be a meta card, I don't think. 140 HP. Lightning Colorless, we do have Generator to boost this thing up quickly and start attacking turn 1. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. This attack does 70 damage for each future card you find there. Discard the future cards you revealed in this way. Shuffle the other cards back to your deck. So this could be a cool meme deck, I think, for sure. I'm really excited to give this thing a try when it comes out. Like I said, probably pair it with the generators, attack turn 1, try and hit hard, try and hit for a KO, and then kind of repeat from there. We don't have a ton of future cards right now, but when this set releases, we're gonna get a ton of future Pokemon. So theoretically, you play this with a bunch of future Pokemon. Hey, you could even get these the Iron Crowns involved. Wait a second, 4 Iron Crown on the bench, maybe 3. Attacking with Iron Thorns, play a bunch of Iron Boulders, and what is this one again? Iron Leaves. Super out them back into the deck after we discard them. Okay, I'm kind of cooking. I kind of like this. Or the Generator to set up our energy in play. Okay, I could see it. Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, I'm excited for the Iron Thorns. I'm more excited for the Iron Thorns than any other of the future Pokemon, to be honest. Looking at all these other future Pokemon, well, the Iron Crown, the ability's cool. The attack, of course, can't be too broken if the ability's as good as it is. So the ability's cool. Can't have the attack be too broken. But the ancient Pokemon look really sick. Like I said, we got Sada to work with all those. The future Pokemon, I don't know. Iron Thorns is kind of cool. It'll be a cool meme deck. I'm definitely excited to try that one out. We got the Crypto Maniacs Deciphering. Search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle your deck, and then put those on top of your deck in any order. We've had a card similar to this in the past, the Mallow, and it comboed really well in Zoroark decks because Zoroark had trade. So you could Mallow, put any 2 cards you wanted on top of your deck, then trade and draw those 2 cards. And then you could do whatever you want with those 2 cards. So this will probably be pretty powerful in decks that have built-in draw support. Maybe Gardevoir with the refinements, because that doesn't rotate. Could put it maybe in a B-Barrel deck, stuff like that. There's definitely a lot of potential for this in those draw power, those decks with built-in draw power. Definitely be able to potentially utilize this card. Not going to be like a mainstay consistently in every meta deck or anything like that. And there also is like some other possible combos you could do with this. You know, you could play it with an electric generator deck, put 2 lightning on top of your deck, and then guarantee the 2 lightning energy off the electric generator. That seems like a lot of work to get 2 lightning off an electric generator when you're probably already gonna get 1 if you just play it, and maybe 2. So I don't love that idea. I think I'd rather use my supporter for something else, to be honest. Maybe go get another electric generator with like a Peony. Well, I guess Peony rotates, maybe like Arvin or something. Yeah, I don't love that combo, but I guess it is technically there. I did take a look at these 2 in my last video, so I want to skip over the Neo Upper Energy. Solid double rainbow energy for stage 2 Pokemon, but it's hard to beat the Prime Catcher, which switches one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to their active and switches one of your bench Pokemon to your active. As an item card, it is an A-Spec, so you can only play 1. Yeah, it's going to be tough to beat, though. I'm interested to see what the other A-Specs look like, though. I'm not ready to be sold on the this will make the game super unfun, unfair feeling train quite yet. Prime Catcher good, hopefully not too good. Koraidon EX, 230 HP. This is an ancient Pokemon 230 can become 290 pretty quickly with one of those tool cards. Vengeful Hammer, 2 colorless energy, 20 damage plus 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. And then for fighting, 280 damage. That's a lot. Oh, excuse me. It's fire fighting. But we do have the Sada. This is an ancient Pokemon. Combo that with the Sada. Boom, we're good to go. Fire fighting, 280. This Pokemon does 60 damage to itself. So it hits pretty hard. This could be okay maybe in a future Lost Zone build that plays fires and fightings to be able to get that big hit from this for the 280. I could see that being okay. By itself with the tool card, you put the tool card on it to get to 290, but then you do 280 and then you put yourself back down to 230 HP. Also 280, not as good as it once was. You know, stuff like Guardian EX and other Stage 2 EXs have a lot more HP than that now. I'm not really sold on the Koraidon. Seems a little bit too linear, too straightforward. And yeah, if you didn't hit yourself for 60 damage, this could be pretty good. Hitting for 280 and having 290 HP, that's a lot of big numbers. But hitting yourself for 60 damage, I'm not quite sold on this thing actually having that much potential, to be honest. Moving through some of these more theme deck style ancient Pokemon, we do get to the Sandy Shocks. I actually think the Sandy Shocks is really, really good. 120 HP. It's got the Magnetic Blast for a fighting energy. 20 damage plus 70 more damage if you have 3 or more energy in play. You know what Sada does? It puts 2 energy in play. You attach for turn. That's 3 energy in play. That's turn 1, 90 damage for 1 fighting energy. If your opponent opens a Ralts or something, why would I not want to knock it out with a 120 HP, 1 prize Pokemon for 1 energy? That sounds perfect. That sounds exactly like what I want to do. I wouldn't want to send a Roaring Moon into my active or anything like that to take a knockout. There's a reason the Morpeko is so good in the Roaring Moon deck. It's because I don't want to end my turn with a Roaring Moon in my active to KO a Ralts. So then my Roaring Moon gets KO'd. I would rather send a Morpeko in my active, and then if they want to take a 1 prize knockout, sure, go for it. I don't care. Same thing with the Sandy Shocks. Combo this with the Raikou, the Raging Bolt, or whatever it's called, and have like a little bit more of a flexible 1 prize to attack with to take those early KOs without leaving your 2 prizer in a vulnerable spot in your active. So yeah, Sandy Shocks, really sick card. Gonna see a lot of play, I think, in ancient decks that play fighting energy, of course. You got to be playing the fighting energy. So Raging Bolt. Bad. Miraidon EX, also bad, but we'll go through it. 220 HP, future Pokemon, no energy acceleration, never going to set this thing up. Lightning Psychic, okay, that's not that bad. 60 damage plus 100 damage more if your opponent's active has any damage counters on it. We can get damage on their active through Iron Valiant. So we're doing 180 for a Lightning and a Psychic. I said fighting because it's an F here, but it's actually a Psychic energy. So we're doing 160, which becomes 180. For a Lightning and a Psychic. How are we getting this Lightning and Psychic on our Dragon Pokemon? I don't know. I don't think it's possible. And then for Lightning Psychic, colorless 220 to your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon can't use Cyber Drive. So all of this stuff, these weird energy requirements, these future Pokemon needing so much energy, is really pointing towards the fact that there has to be some kind of future energy acceleration coming. This card sucks. If there's no way to, there's no new form of future energy acceleration, this card is just not good. There's got to be something on the way to make this card better. Iron Hands, not very good. Iron Valiant, not very good. Iron Jugulus, not very good. And then we get to the Master Ball A-Spec, a reprint, an A-Spec reprint. I thought they would do, my prediction was 2 reprints. My prediction is that they would do 2 reprints. Here's the first one, the Master Ball. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. It is a Pokemon search card. I can go find any Pokemon with no drawbacks except for discarding the card itself. It was seen before, back when we had A-Specs, back in, it's a long time ago. I actually don't know the years. I'm not even gonna try and guess. It was not very good. I think it was maybe seen at one point in like one deck. I think it was like maybe played in like Tool Drop or something because you just didn't want to discard cards with computer search. I don't know. I feel like it was played in like one meta deck at one point. I might just be wrong on that and it was always just terrible, but it was basically just terrible even when it was played in the one meta deck. So moving forward, I don't think this is still going to be played. I would be surprised if Master Ball makes its way into a meta deck, but I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for this to be way more popular than Prime Catcher, because Prime Catcher seems kind of broken and less fun to play against than something like Master Ball being the A-Spec you're going up against. So I wouldn't hate Master Ball being the most popular A-Spec, but I just don't see that happening when we have stuff like Ultra Ball and Nest Ball in the format. And that's all the cards that we got revealed. I'm sure there'll be more coming up eventually. The set over in Japan releases on January 26th. Like I mentioned, we're not getting these cards until the end of March, and we're going to be getting a lot more cards to be revealed for our set in the end of March as well. So this isn't everything that are like the big cards. There's gonna be more big cards, possibly more A-Specs. Maybe we'll get around 4 A-Specs. These might be the 3 A-Specs we end up getting, though, to be honest. Maybe there'll be 4 to 6 A-Specs that we end up getting, though. Who knows? We'll see. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, leave a comment, whatever. Catch you all in the next video. Peace.